everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome to my channel if you're new around here. So for today's video I'm actually filming something which is actually kind of a year overdue. It is my little chat how I found second year of uni. See, most of you all know that I actually have been out of uni for a year now. I was doing my placement year in London, so I actually finished second year a year ago. However, I never actually got around to filming the video just because obviously I moved home from uni and basically flew straight to Orlando to do my Disney program, and obviously a lot of my content then was kind of based around Disney and going out there and packing videos and stuff like that, so I didn't actually get a chance to make the video, even though I made all the notes and kind of planned the whole video, which is kind of annoying. Anyway, it wasn't until I filmed my London internships video that I realised that I never filmed this one, so I thought better late than never. Let's sit down and chat about my second year of uni. So I've got a cup of tea, because we're going to spill some tea. We're not, don't worry. And yeah, I've made some notes and I'm basically just going to go through them and chat to you guys about everything that happened and how I found my second year of uni. So a little bit of background, if you've never watched a video of mine before or you've never watched any of my uni content, I study media and communication at Bournemouth University. I've obviously been there for 2 years now. I will be going into my final year this September, so make sure you subscribe if you're not already, because I'm going to be weekly vlogging the entire year, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, so for second year I actually lived in a flat, a top floor flat above a restaurant. It was a lovely flat. We actually chose to live in the flat rather than live in a house, just because we found that the flat was much better quality, much better value for money. It was in better condition, the furniture was brand new, everything about it was a lot better than what we had found in most houses. So we decided to go for a flat. There was 4 of us. It was me, my boyfriend, my friend Amy and my friend Beth. We all lived there together. It was super good. We all got on really super well, and so kind of living together kind of felt easy and natural, and I found that we were a really good dynamic in the flat. So yeah, that definitely worked really well. We lived about a 20-minute walk from uni, which was completely fine. Obviously in first year we lived quite far away from uni, but we got a free bus service to and from. It was quite nice to not have to rely on the buses and kind of maybe have to stand on the bus rather than get a seat. It was nice just to be able to walk in and out whenever we wanted to, and also get a bit more exercise, because I feel like in first year I didn't really get that much exercise because of the buses, so walking to uni felt quite good. Obviously when it rained it sometimes was a little bit annoying, I'm not gonna lie. We sometimes didn't go in when it was raining because if it was that bad we didn't want to get soaked. However, obviously because it's second year a lot more of my friends had cars, so very occasionally if it was really rainy, one of us would kind of choose to drive. Although the parking at uni is a little bit of a nightmare. If you go to Bournemouth you'll know what I mean, but the parking on campus isn't really great. So we found we were parking down side roads and maybe walking 5-10 minutes rather than 20 minutes, which wasn't always worth it, but we did it anyway. There was also a bus stop right outside my apartment, so if I wanted to go into town I could literally go and get a bus in 5 minutes and it would be great. The actual flat building itself was kind of disgusting and run down, but as I said, the flat itself was lovely and we all had pretty decent sized rooms, and the kitchen was pretty much brand new. There wasn't really much I could fault about the flat other than the one mould patch we had and the fact the boiler kept breaking. But I mean, I don't know what else to expect from a student house. So for freshers this year we actually decided not to do proper freshers. We didn't buy tickets to the events or go on loads of club nights, mainly because obviously if you guys know, in first year everyone gets this thing called freshers flu when you're all living in halls and everyone's from everywhere and everyone just brings their germs and spread stuff around basically. So we decided to try and avoid freshers flu a little bit this year, and rather than going to the clubs and mingling with all the first years, we decided to just have loads of housewarming parties instead, which honestly was so fun. It saved us a lot of money for starters because we didn't have to buy club entry and stuff like that. It was a lot more kind of civilized, I guess, and a lot more fun in terms of I found that I got really close with a lot of my friends that I wasn't previously that close with in this time, just because obviously we could sit around and chat and play drinking games and actually get to know each other a bit more, rather than just going to a club and having ravey music and you can't actually hear anyone, which we do like going out, but at the same time this was a really fun different experience that we really wanted to do. We also had a few people's birthdays mixed in there, so we had a few birthday parties going on. I think we maybe went out once or twice, but we didn't really do it every single night, which I actually really liked. From a like social perspective in second year, I found that I spent a lot more time with the people that I was actually living with. In first year, I feel like this is just a halls thing in general. Unless your like core friendship group is the people you live with in halls, you don't spend that much time with them. Like, there wasn't anything wrong with my first year flat. I got on with everyone really well, as you guys know. But I didn't necessarily spend like a ton of time with them. Like, occasionally we'd all be in the kitchen at the same time, or I'd like run into someone in the hallway, or we'd occasionally go and have a catch up. But for the most part, I didn't really spend much time with my flat. But in second year, I honestly did. I spent all my time, especially with Beth and Amy, and it was just the loveliest experience. I got so close to those girls. They're honestly like my family, and the same with kind of the core group of friends that I actually made this year at uni. I found that I got a lot closer with my kind of like main group of friends, the people that I'm with on my course and that I see every single day. We got a lot closer this year, which I really love. It was super weird not having everyone like conveniently in the same building. Like, I was very lucky in that everyone did live quite close, but for example, my friend Maddie actually lived like 20-25 minute walk away, so it wasn't always super easy to kind of meet up and go around each other's like houses as such. Obviously we'd always see each other all the time in uni anyway, but I find that the conveniency of halls was definitely missed. Not only from a social perspective, but probably also like the bills and the fact that if something goes wrong, you know who's going to fix it, and it's like not your problem to pay bills. Like, your bills are included and you can leave your light on all day if you want to. Obviously that's not great for the environment, don't do that, but like, if you happen to accidentally leave your light on when you went out, you could do that. Whereas obviously in second year, I was a lot more kind of conscious of like having to pay bills. We actually had a meter, so we had to like top stuff up, and the amount of times one of us would forget to top the meter up, and then all of a sudden we'd just have a power cut because we're lazy and forget, is actually a little bit unreal. But yeah, I definitely miss the conveniency of halls, and I don't think anything will ever compare to living in halls. I absolutely loved living in halls. But yeah, second year definitely felt a lot more kind of family orientated, in the sense that I got a lot closer with everyone, and it was just really nice. 2 standard nights out we actually had in second year were the night we went to go to the ABBA like tribute party, which was honestly hilarious. We wore like flares and bright colours and glitter, and it was just the best night, honestly. Like, listening to like the Mamma Mia soundtracks and just having a good old dance. It was a really fun time. That was at Halo, if anyone is from Bournemouth here and you know the places. And the other standout night out we had was at Sound Circus, which again, if you're from Bournemouth, you'll know that is the dingiest, grottiest club ever. And they have a night called Propaganda, where it's basically like indie music and like throwbacks and like just a good time. Like, you don't take yourself too seriously if you go to Propaganda, but it was honestly the best night. I remember my friend Alice came down to visit, and we all went there together, and we were requesting Don Broco for literally like 25 minutes. They eventually played a Don Broco song, and we all just lost our minds. It was honestly hilarious. Like, we've had some of the best nights at Sound Circus, and we didn't really discover it until quite late in the year, so I'm looking forward to going back there hopefully in final year if the clubs reopen. But yeah, Sound Circus was always a good time. We also did a lot of pub quizzes. We went to 60 Million Postcards, which again, if you're from Bournemouth, you'll definitely know what that is. It's my all-time favourite place in Bournemouth. I love going there for just drinks, catch up, food, date night, anything. I honestly love 60 Million Postcards so much. It's like my favourite, like it's my happy place basically. But they started doing pub quizzes every Sunday, and it was like £2 entry per person, which is a bit steep, but we did it anyway. It was really fun, and we'd go and like get our quiz team together and we'd revise. I remember one week the quiz was Friday Night Dinner themed, so we spent the entire week, no joke, watching every single episode of Friday Night Dinner as our like revision, because apparently we didn't have enough to be doing. But yeah, I loved the pub quizzes on a Sunday. They were super fun. And there was also a pub quiz in a place called Conto Lounge, which I feel like I'm just gonna keep saying this. If you're from Bournemouth, you'll know what I mean. But Conto Lounge, and also the Spoons in Winton, which I can't remember what it's called. But that Spoons in Winton, the like dodgy one, also do a pub quiz, which wasn't as good, but it was free and just convenient because we could walk there. So yeah, definitely recommend doing a pub quiz if you're at uni, because they're a super fun way to get all your friends together and kind of get your general knowledge going and get your brain going, and it's just a fun time. So now on to the most important part of uni, probably, well, what should be the most important part is the workload. I remember being quite motivated in term 1, like I was really looking forward to the projects and the assignments, and we had like quite a big research project going on, which I was really looking forward to. And then I don't really know what happened. I don't know if I just didn't get a very good grade in the research project or what, but in term 2 my motivation went like this. Like, as time went on, I just could not be bothered. I did not want to be in education anymore. I was so incredibly bored of learning stuff that just didn't really feel that useful. Like, everything just felt a bit pointless. And I don't know if this is like a second year thing, like you just get really unmotivated in second year because it's like the middle year. And obviously it's annoying because second year is the first year that actually counts towards your degree, and I really could not be bothered. I remember normally for an exam, I will be revising like a month before to make sure that I'm prepared, because I get so scared of going into an exam and not knowing anything that I would rather just revise for weeks than like not know anything essentially. But I would literally revise like a week before, 3 days before, like it would get to 10 days before and I'd be like, right, I'm going to start revising, and then I don't, gets to a week before and I don't start, and then it's like 5 days and then I just cram. But then not even cram, like I just wasn't even doing that much revision, and it was really, and normally that sort of thing would really stress me out because I really am an overworker, but it just wasn't. And I still did fine in the exam. Like, to be honest, they weren't that hard. Like, we only had 2 exams in the whole year, and I actually am very lucky in that I don't have any more exams to go. Like, final year there are no exams, so I don't ever have to sit an exam ever again, thank God. But yeah, I just did not want to revise, and I just didn't see the point in it. And as I said, I did okay grade wise. I got pretty much 2 1s in everything. I got a couple of firsts, and I got a 50 or like a pass on one of the projects, but I think it was more the sense that every single person in our year were really confused by this project. It was like a whole thing. I don't necessarily think it was my fault that I did badly, but yeah, there was a whole thing with a research project when 2 lecturers basically told us completely different things, and then the opposite lecturer marked them. So yeah, as you can imagine, that didn't go great. But I mean, it was fine. Like, I can kind of cope with 1 bad grade considering I didn't really try the whole year. I didn't not try, but do you know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't completely 100% there. We did have one unit that I really enjoyed though, and it was basically to design a double page spread for a magazine and then also write the article to go in it. And I did mine all about cruelty-free makeup, which is something that I'm really passionate about and I was very excited to work on. However, there was a bit of an incident with this unit. Basically, the seminar leader we had for it was nasty. Like, nasty to the point where we actually had to report her to the uni. And obviously I'm not going to mention names or anything like that. If you are on my course and you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know. But there's basically one lecturer who, she just didn't ever have a good thing to say about anyone, and we basically had to sit in a seminar and kind of discuss our ideas for our magazine and what we think we could do, and she would basically give us like some constructive feedback and let us know if she thinks it's a good idea and like what we can kind of do to make it as best as it can be, which obviously sounds great and like would have been really helpful. But she was so nasty. She would shut down everyone's ideas before they'd even said them. I don't even think I even said my proper idea in the end because I was like, I do not want to be shut down by you, like no way. And I remember she just didn't really ever give us any positive feedback. Everything was very negative with her and nothing was ever good enough, and it was really disheartening. But honestly, as time went on, we all just got really frustrated with her and decided that we didn't want to listen to her anymore, so we kind of just took matters into our own hands and submitted the work we wanted to submit, because at the end of the day that piece was a bit more of a portfolio piece, something we can show employers, and I wanted it to be something I was proud of rather than something that I'd been forced to make because she wasn't happy with any of my ideas. And I was really happy with the outcome of mine. It's the first time I properly used kind of Adobe InDesign and all that kind of thing, so yeah, I was happy with it, but I didn't get a very good grade, and it was purely down to the fact that she was just not a very good teacher and was really harsh. And yeah, everyone kind of did badly on that and we were all very disheartened. I think that might have also led to the fact that I felt so unmotivated, but yeah, it just wasn't a good time, and I just don't understand why lecturers have to be like that. We did do a couple of group pieces as well, which I don't love. I don't love group projects that much, and I'm kind of hoping that because of everything that's happened this year, when we go back in September, we're not gonna get any group work. Like, I'm really hoping that any group work they have planned, they're just gonna make us do by ourselves, because I just really can't stand group work. It really annoys me. There was one project we did which I actually did quite enjoy, and it was basically we had to make a pitch for why we should like bring a certain product back, or like I don't even remember what it was. We basically had to do a persuasive argument, and our persuasive argument was basically that we think video should come back, so like actual old school like videos, and it was so fun. We even designed the cover for like a video box, and we talked about how it would be nostalgic and our favourite videos growing up and all that sort of thing. And honestly, I loved that project because it was such a like nostalgic, fun, light-hearted thing to do. It didn't require like tons of research. We had to do a few surveys and like research in that way, but it wasn't like theory based, and I'm not a huge fan of like stuff where it's like, well, so and so et al said this, because I don't like backing my points up with that. I just don't understand why you have to do that. But anyway, that's the whole point of uni. Anyway, yeah, so I kind of enjoyed that project because it was quite fun and light-hearted. But yes, that was super fun. We did quite good in that, and I actually really enjoyed presenting them as well. We had to present them to like half the year group at a time, so they could all see our ideas and like discuss whether or not they were persuaded by it. I feel like we definitely had a bigger workload in term 1 than we did term 2, but I feel like this is a very kind of common thing with uni. The same thing happened in first year as well. We just had more to do in first term, which I don't know if that's just because they're trying to like get you back into it after the summer or what, but I do always find term 2 is a little bit more neglected by lecturers. If anyone else can relate, let me know, because I'd be really intrigued to know. If you guys want me to do like a full video dedicated just to talking about my course and like all the units I've done, then do let me know, because I know that that probably isn't for everyone. But if you do want me to do that, obviously, as I said, I go to Bournemouth and I do communication and media. Do let me know if you want me to do like a full video, because I definitely will do that. But yeah, on to more kind of general things. In terms of like budgeting and money, I did a lot better at saving money in second year. I think first year everything's a bit more of a novelty, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go buy this, oh, I don't have a blender, I'm gonna go buy a blender. Like all this stupid stuff that you really don't need, I feel like you do in first year. In second year, I obviously didn't really do that as much. I do remember me and Maddie having a very impulse trip to Primark, which resulted in me spending some of my overdraft in Primark, and then Maddie actually forgetting her card, trying to use Apple Pay, and it not working, and then her car getting a ticket or something. It was a whole thing, but generally I was a lot better with money in second year, and I'm also looking forward to going in third year. Knowing that I've now lived in London and I feel like I can budget quite well, I'm looking forward to seeing how much money I kind of save and spend this year and trying to see how I improve. But yeah, I definitely found that I did a lot better saving money this year. I think it probably helped as well because we lived near a Lidl, so I was able to shop in Lidl, and my food shops, no joke, would cost me £10 a week because Lidl is so freaking cheap. We also had a like a farm shop. It's like a fresh fruit and veg shop, which honestly was so good. It wasn't that expensive. It was kind of probably a bit more expensive than Lidl was, but I made much more of an effort in second year to be more sustainable. I bought some like netted like fruit and veg bags, so you don't have to buy stuff in plastic, and I would basically go to Lidl, buy everything that I needed in there, and then buy all my fruit and veg in the fruit and veg shop. And yeah, it just worked really well for me, and I found that I had a much better kind of living mentality in second year. Like I treated it much more in a grown-up way, and yeah, I was a lot more sustainable, which was really good, in my opinion anyway. I know that's not the most like important thing for every student, but for me it definitely is. And obviously living on your own is the perfect time to start doing something like that when you're kind of food shopping for yourself. So yeah, that was really good, and I did manage to save a lot of money. Also, as I mentioned, a lot of my friends had cars, so I also managed to save some money on the bus because we would drive in to town together, and obviously I would contribute towards like parking and things, but generally if there was like 4 of us in the car, that would be a lot cheaper than getting the bus, so we always did that when we could. There was the occasion when I did use the bus still, just because sometimes it's just easier if I needed to go into town myself, or if no one wanted to come with me, for example. Something I found in first year that I did a lot is I ate a lot of like McDonald's and takeaway food, because we had a lot of takeaways on the road we lived on in first year, whereas in second year I found that we as a group kind of tried to restrict the amount of like McDonald's and fast food and like Tesco meal deals and stuff like that we had. Obviously I didn't have the conveniency of a Tesco underneath me, so I didn't spend a stupid amount of money in there, but instead what we would do is once a term or a couple of times a term we would go out and have like a nice dinner. So like for example, we went to a pub and had a roast dinner, or we'd go out and have like a Nando's, or like just something a little bit nicer than just like McDonald's takeaway. Obviously we did still have the occasional McDonald's takeaway. Me, Amy and Beth absolutely loved going to Sprinkles. That was a really fun time. So we tended to do that a little bit more than we did in first year, like actually eating out as like actual civilised human beings, and not just grotty students, which I actually really enjoyed. So that was definitely a fun thing. So talking a little bit more about term 2, if you guys watched my channel you might not really know this, but term 2 was actually a bit of a difficult one for me. Term 1, absolutely fine, had a great time, like it was all good. The start of term 2 was really hard. Basically it started off with my boyfriend actually moved away for study abroad, which I kind of was prepared for. It wasn't the most like heartbreaking thing in the world because, I mean it was obviously very sad, but we were prepared for it for like pretty much a year, so we knew it was going to happen. He actually went to New Jersey, which was really cool. I did get to go visit him, which you guys would have seen on my channel. I did some vlogs from that trip. But it meant we had to have a new person move into our flat, and originally we were going to have one of our friends move in. She was going to try and find someone to fill her room and then move into our flat, and it would have been like a fun time. But it wasn't able to happen, and basically we ended up having this random girl move in, and honestly she was a lot better than the other option we had because there was also a guy who wanted to move in. He was a little bit strange. So basically we invited this girl to live with us because she seemed really nice. She came over and we met her and had a conversation. We were saying how we were going to have like movie nights and go out for dinner and go out for drinks, get to know each other, and it would have been a really fun time. And she was saying how she's super tidy and kind of likes to keep herself to herself, but then is also quite sociable at the same time, and like it was all good. So this girl moved in and she was obviously paying rent. It was all fine. And then a kind of couple of months into her living with us, she basically just disappeared off the face of the earth, and we didn't see her or hear her at all ever. Like, and it wasn't even like she was coming in and out of the flat because my bedroom backed onto the front door, so I could hear anytime someone came in and out. And you know that whole thing where it's like you know what family member's coming up and down the stairs? I could do that with my flatmates. I could tell who was coming up and down the stairs, and I could never ever hear her. And it was all a bit strange. And then she told us that basically her boyfriend doesn't go to Bournemouth, but he does live in Bournemouth. So I just assumed, okay, she's going to be staying at his house quite a lot, that's why she's not there. No. Turns out her boyfriend had actually moved in to the flat and was living with us rent-free and bill-free, and it was all a bit kind of sketchy. She basically stopped using the kitchen, which made me think that she'd brought her own like kitchen stuff for her room because her room was actually massive. The room my boyfriend had been in had the ensuite, and because he was the only guy living with us, we gave him that room, but it was honestly like the size of the entire flat put together. It was a massive room. It's like, does she have her own kitchen in there? Like, she literally did not ever come out ever. But to be honest, we kind of weren't that bothered because we thought as long as, you know, she's not messy, she's keeping herself to herself, like it's just like she's not here, it's fine. Having her boyfriend there was a little bit stressful because we were very aware that he was using electricity and not paying rent, and we kind of tried to bring it up a few times with her over like in the group chat, but it didn't really ever happen. Like, we never really got anywhere with it. I remember one time I literally came out of the shower in my towel and her boyfriend was walking down the hallway, and I was just like, well, here we are. Didn't even say hello, didn't even acknowledge the fact I was there. I sort of smiled at him awkwardly and was like, hi. I don't even know his name. That was the only time I ever saw him, but I knew he lived there. Like, I knew he was living in her room, and it was all very weird. And then over the Easter holidays, Amy had basically come back to the flat earlier than me and Beth and basically took a photo of the kitchen, and this girl who was living with us had actually used all of our kitchen utensils and equipment and left it out everywhere. Like, some of it was clean, some of it wasn't, but she had made the biggest mess. I think she just thought we weren't going to come back for a long time, so decided to use all of our stuff and like have all her friends over, and it was, and to be honest, we were not very happy with the whole situation. We tried to bring it up with our estate agent, but he didn't really seem to care. He just said that as long as she's still paying her bills and rent, and there's no problem, which she was. Like, to be fair, she was still paying all of her rent and bills. In the end, we actually charged her a little bit more for the bills, kind of without her really knowing, just because obviously her boyfriend was living there and she wasn't really contributing to anything else, and it just kind of seemed a bit weird. So yeah, she was a little bit strange and definitely made living in the flat a little bit awkward towards the end, but we kind of just ignored the fact she was even there, and it was still a great time. I still love living in that flat. So the year actually ended in the summer term, and I absolutely adore summer in Bournemouth. It's my favourite time of year. Obviously we had a lot of beach days and actually beach evenings as well. We would sometimes go to the beach and stay there until the sunset, and it was honestly just the nicest time, and generally as well it was the nicest send-off from Bournemouth because obviously we weren't going to be going back for another year, and we actually spent our last day in Bournemouth before I moved out of the flat going bowling and having Nando's, and it was just a great time. Actually, I didn't go bowling because I had to leave early, but we did go to Nando's and that was super fun. And yeah, second year in general was a little bit crazy in terms of like just emotions and like obviously the bit of drama we had at the start of term 2. I've not mentioned all the drama just because I don't want to spill the tea that much, and a lot of it's between some friends and I don't really feel comfortable talking about it, and it's not really very fair to talk about it. But a lot happened in term 2, but it still made for a super enjoyable year, and yeah, I loved it. I mean, I still think first year was definitely my favourite year of uni so far. Obviously we still have final year to go, it's all to play for. I can imagine final year is going to be very different though, given everything that's currently going on in the world. I have no idea yet. Bournemouth still haven't said what's going to happen with lectures and seminars. They've sort of hinted we might have lectures online and seminars in person, but to be honest, I don't really know what's going to happen. All I hope is that the library is open and that we can actually go on campus. We've all agreed we're going to move into our house still, regardless of what happens, just so that we're all together and we can still do final year in some capacity all together. Obviously we have it, we've signed for it, so we're going to be paying for it either way. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to final year, and obviously as I said, I'm going to actually weekly vlog the entire year, which I'm very excited about, so you guys can come along with me on the journey of the final year in Bournemouth, which I'm very sad about. It's gone very fast, and I'm very glad that I've done a placement year as well, because there is no way I would have been ready to graduate this year at all. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. I do hope that it was helpful for any of you that might be starting Bournemouth or going into your second year at Bournemouth, or if you're just a little bit nosy and want to know how my life is going, because I know that's why I watch these videos. So yeah, make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Let me know if you want any more kind of university related content. I have a lot that I'd love to talk about in film, so let me know. And yeah, I will see you all again very soon with another video. Bye!